This is Everyday Tension. Real stories based on real experiences about everyday conflicts people rarely talk about. This story was shared anonymously. If you'd like, you can support the channel by liking or subscribing and let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Here's what happened.
It started with a text, not even a phone call. A text message on a Tuesday afternoon. It was from Tammy, my mother-in-law, except we weren't speaking to her. We hadn't been for over a year. The last thing she'd said to us, screamed actually, was to never contact her again. So we didn't. We took her at her word. It was a relief at first, a heavy, quiet relief. The text was long. My husband, DH, showed me his phone. The screen was a solid block of white with small black text. He just handed it to me without a word. I took it and read. It was all about how much she loved him, how she missed him, how she couldn't understand why he was doing this to her. She said she was ready to let him go if that's what he wanted, but she needed to know what she did wrong. She said she lay awake at night, her heart aching, wondering why her only son had abandoned her. She said she prayed for him. She said she was getting old. She mentioned dementia runs in the family. She said she was afraid one day he'd call and she wouldn't remember his name, and how sad that would be for him, to carry that guilt. I handed the phone back. She doesn't mention me, I said. DH just shrugged. He put the phone face down on the kitchen counter. We didn't talk about it. We made dinner. We fed our daughter, who was just a baby then. We cleaned up. The phone sat there. Later, I saw him type out a reply. He stared at the screen for a full minute, his thumb hovering. Then he deleted it. He put the phone in his pocket and came to help me give the baby a bath. That was the first one. They kept coming. Not every day, but often enough. Sometimes texts, sometimes letters in the mail, handwritten on yellow legal paper, the writing getting progressively messier and more frantic down the page. The theme was always the same. Love, confusion, victimhood, guilt. Never an apology. Never any recognition of the things we had told her, repeatedly, for years. The times she'd screamed, the names she'd called, the way she'd made every crisis about her. The time she called DH while I was in surgery. She never mentioned any of that. In her letters, it was a mystery, a sudden, unexplained severing. She was a mother, cast adrift by a cruel son and a controlling daughter-in-law. We didn't answer. That was the agreement. No contact meant no contact. Any response, even a negative one, would be a response. It would be a thread she could pull, so we didn't. It was harder for DH. He'd look at his phone after a notification, and his whole face would change. It would go still and tired. He'd read it, sigh, and put the phone away. Sometimes he'd tell me what it said. Sometimes he wouldn't. I didn't ask. Then the aunt got involved. DH's aunt, his mom's sister, the only one who still talked to Tammy occasionally. She started sending texts too. They were shorter, more passive-aggressive. Things like, family is everything, and life is short. One Sunday morning, she sent a Bible verse. Honor thy father and mother. That one got to him. I could see it. He was making coffee, and his phone buzzed. He read it and just stood there by the coffee maker, holding his phone. What is it? I asked. He showed me. I rolled my eyes. Ignore it. He didn't ignore it. He typed back. He showed me his reply before he sent it. Another verse. Something about fathers not provoking their children. He hit send. I didn't say anything. I figured it was his family, his call. The aunt fired back something snippy almost immediately, saying the verse she sent was the obligation, no matter what. He didn't reply to that. We haven't heard from her since. I guess she didn't like being challenged. The texts from Tammy shifted a little after that. They became less about her confusion and more about practical things, or what she thought were practical things. There was one demanding we buy her a new air conditioning unit. Her old one was broken, she said. It was the middle of summer. She said she was suffering. She said it was our responsibility. We didn't reply. She wanted to be her husband and wanted to be a son man, and both wondered how she responded. I couldn't prospect. A week later, another text came, angry this time. She called us selfish. She said we enjoyed seeing her suffer. She said we had money, and we were withholding it from her out of spite. We didn't reply. The quiet periods between messages were the best times. We could almost forget. We'd get into our routine, work, daycare, dinner, bedtime. We'd watch a show. We'd talk about normal things. Then a notification would buzz, and the air would go out of the room. It was like a low-grade infection. You'd feel okay, and then a throb of pain would remind you it was still there. She found us on LinkedIn. That was a new one. Neither of us use it much. I got an email saying I had a new connection request. It was from her. Her profile picture was a blurry selfie. She hadn't worked in 20 years. She made an account just to find us. She didn't just send a request. She posted a public comment on DH's profile. It said, "Son, please call your mother. I am worried about you." For anyone to see, his colleagues, his old classmates. I blocked her so fast my fingers slipped on the trackpad. DHD did the same. It felt invasive in a different way. This wasn't a private text. This was performance. After that, it got quiet for a few months. A real deep quiet. I started to hope. Maybe she'd given up. Maybe she'd found a new obsession. The holidays came and went without a word. It was the most peaceful Christmas we'd had in years. We saw my family. Our daughter was starting to walk. We were happy. Then, in late January, I got a Facebook friend request and a message. I was scrolling through my phone during my lunch break at work. I saw the notification, a friend request from Tammy. My stomach dropped. I clicked on it. There was a message attached. "Hey, green paper, it's Tammy. I've been praying for you that your health is better." I stared at it. My health. I had a traumatic birth. It was a whole thing. Emergency surgery, a long recovery, more surgeries later. It was the worst time of our lives. And Tammy, during that time, had been blowing up DH's phone. Not to ask how I was. Not to ask how the baby was. To complain about her own problems. To pick fights. To accuse him of not loving her because he wasn't answering her calls while he was waiting to hear if his wife and child were okay. She showed no regard. None. And now, years later, she was praying for my health. The message continued. "I'm sorry you thought that I called you fat ass. I was probably calling my dogs, trying to get them into the house. I would never say anything bad about you. I love you." I almost laughed. That was from a million years ago. Back when DH and I were just dating. He'd gotten into an argument with her on the phone. She was screaming. I could hear her through the receiver. She yelled, "You and your fat-ass girlfriend." I'd forgotten about it. It was just one drop in an ocean of insults. The fact that she remembered it, that she thought that was the thing to apologize for, was ridiculous. It wasn't an apology anyway. It was "sorry you thought," and the excuse was so stupid. Calling her dogs? Sure. Then the next part. "I never told your mom about the day friend's name was massaging your back. I know things get twisted. I respect that your mom takes care of you." That one made me put my phone down. I had to take a breath. That story. That goddamn story. It was a decade old. We were at her house. DH, me, and our friend Mark. We'd all grown up together. We were watching a movie in the living room, sitting on the floor because the couch was broken. DH got up to take a shower. Tammy was in her room. Mark and I kept watching the movie. We were sitting next to each other, same as we had been when DH was there. Tammy walked in to get something from the kitchen. She stopped. She looked at us. She didn't say a word. She just gave us this look of utter disgust and walked out. Later, she confronted DH. She said she saw us carrying on. She said it was inappropriate. She said I had no respect for him. Over the years, the story grew. In her mind, Mark and I were suddenly sitting much closer. Then we were snuggling. Then he was giving me a back rub. In her latest versions, we were practically making out and jumped apart when she walked in. It became her favorite weapon. Whenever she wanted to attack me, she'd bring up that day. She'd tell DH I was unfaithful. She'd say I was using him. And now, in her message, she was claiming she never told my mom. My mom knew Tammy was unstable. My mom didn't care about some invented back rub from a decade ago. The threat was so childish. "I won't tell your mommy on you." I was a grown woman with a child of my own. I didn't accept the friend request. I didn't reply to the message. But I did something maybe I shouldn't have. I clicked on her profile. It was public. What I saw was a car crash. I couldn't look away. Her Facebook was like a monument to her own victimhood. Nearly every post was about us. There were dozens of them. Long, rambling status updates. Shared memes about ungrateful children. Bible quotes about honoring parents. And then the specific rants. One was addressed to me, to my daughter-in-law. "You know what you did. You destroyed my relationship with my son because you were afraid I would tell your mother the truth about you and his so-called friend. You are a jealous, controlling woman. Marriage is a partnership, but you were always with his friend. I know you went shopping with him when my son was home cleaning. Ha ha! You have no respect. I remembered that day. We were having a barbecue. A bunch of friends were coming over. DH was outside getting the grill ready and doing some last-minute tidying. We needed more drinks and ice. He asked me and Mark and another friend to run to the store. We were gone maybe 20 minutes. She must have called him while we were out. He must have told her where I was. And that simple fact had festered in her brain for years, twisted into this narrative of infidelity and disrespect. Another post was just a sentence. God did not bless me with a child. Satan gave me an evil child. It was posted on a Thursday. I checked DH's phone. The previous Tuesday, she had sent him a text saying she was so proud of the godly man he had become, and she missed him so much. The whiplash was stunning. There were self-pitying videos. She'd film herself sitting alone at a diner, looking sadly out the window, the camera angled to show she was by herself. The caption would be something like, "Eating alone again." When your family forgets you exist. The comments from her few friends were all sympathy.
"Praying for you. They'll come around,"
she'd reply, with crying emojis. She posted about our finances. She said DH only married me for my money. We do okay. We both work. We're comfortable. She has lived in poverty for years because she refuses to work and spends any money she gets immediately. The jealousy was palpable. Oh, she shit-talked everyone. The aunt who had been her flying monkey. There was a post calling her a two-faced bitch and saying she couldn't be trusted. She posted about other family members, airing old grievances from decades past. Her Facebook was a toxic swamp of resentment. But the worst one, the one that made my blood run cold, was a video. It was a live video she'd done. She was in her car, the phone propped up on the dashboard. Her face was flushed. She was talking directly to the camera, her voice high and sharp. "And they think they're such good parents," she was saying. "They post these pictures for show, but I know the truth. I have the pictures to prove it." She held up her phone to the camera. On the screen was a picture. It was a picture DH had sent her over a year ago, when they were still occasionally talking. Our friends, a couple we're very close with, have an 11-year-old son. He's a sweet kid. He adores our daughter. When she was a few months old, he was over visiting and asked if he could hold her. We let him sit on the couch, and we placed her in his arms. He gave her a bottle for a few minutes, beaming with pride. We took a couple of pictures. It was a cute moment. DH, thinking it was a sweet grandparent type thing to share, had sent the pictures to Tammy. In her video, she pointed at the picture. "Look at this. This is their child. And who is holding her? A child himself. An 11-year-old boy. They were probably drunk, all of them, falling over themselves, and they made this boy take care of their baby. That's neglect. That's endangerment," she went on, her voice getting more and more shrill. She invented a whole scene. A wild party. Drunken adults. A helpless infant pawned off on another child. None of it happened. It was a quiet afternoon. The adults were drinking coffee. The boy asked to hold the baby. That was it. She smirked at the camera. "You better watch out, because human resources might come knocking at your door." She said human resources, not Child Protective Services, HR. It was so stupid, it was almost funny. Almost. Because the intent wasn't stupid. The intent was malicious. She was publicly accusing us of child neglect. She was framing a sweet picture as proof of criminal behavior. She was inviting her small audience of Facebook friends to believe we were unfit parents. I stopped watching. I closed the tab. My hands were shaking. I wasn't angry at first. I was scared. A deep, cold fear settled in my gut. This wasn't just gossip or guilt-tripping anymore. This was a direct attack on our family, on our right to raise our daughter. She was laying groundwork. She was creating a narrative where we were dangerous. I called DH. He was at work. "You need to look at your mother's Facebook," I said. My voice sounded flat. "What about it? Just look at the video. The one with the picture of Clara with Jake." He was quiet for a minute. "Okay, I'll look." He called me back half an hour later. He sounded tired, more tired than usual. "I saw it," he said. "What do we do?" "I don't know. She's talking about HR, but she means CPS. You know that, right?" "I know. She could call them. She could make something up." "That video is her creating evidence." "I know," he said again. He sighed. "I'll keep an eye on it." That was it. We didn't have a plan. What was the plan? You can't reason with someone who lives in a completely different reality. We went about our days, but things felt different. The low-grade infection had turned into a constant dull ache. I started watching for strange cars on our street. I got anxious when the doorbell rang unexpectedly. I talked to DH about cameras, a security system. He agreed. He said he'd been thinking the same thing. He said the only reason he hadn't blocked her number entirely was in case she threatened something specific, like showing up or making a report. He wanted the warning. So he kept her unblocked, and the messages still came, though less frequently. Her other posts were these weird, spammy things, AI-voiced videos with religious themes. 7 signs you are one of God's chosen. Number 1 was always something like, your family rejects you for being true to yourself. She'd share those and then post her own rants right after. It was like she was using these generic videos to validate her own story. We told our friends, the ones with the 11-year-old. We showed them the video. They were horrified. They offered to be witnesses if we ever needed it. They said they'd save the video themselves. It was a comfort, but a small one. Time passed. Our daughter grew. She started talking. She had no idea about any of this. To her, the world was our house, the park, daycare, her grandparents on my side. She didn't have a grandma on her dad's side. It was just a fact, like the sky is blue. We didn't know how we'd explain it one day. The messages from Tammy tapered off to a trickle. A birthday text to DH, a random thinking of you in the middle of the night. We didn't respond. The Facebook post slowed down too. Maybe she got bored. Maybe she found a new outlet. We didn't know. But the feeling didn't go away. The vigilance, the slight tension every time the phone buzzed, the way DH would sometimes just stare into space, and I knew he was thinking about it, about her. The guilt he felt for not feeling guilty. The anger that was so exhausting to carry. We got the cameras, a little system with a doorbell camera, and one for the backyard. It made me feel a little better. Not safe, just less exposed. Sometimes I wonder what she's doing. Is she still telling people her son is evil? Is she still watching those AI videos, nodding along? Does she really believe her own stories? Or does she know, somewhere deep down, that she's making it up? I'll never know. Our life is good. It really is. We have a happy kid. We have jobs we don't hate. We have friends who are like family. The shadow is there, but most of the time we're standing in the sun. Then I'll be playing with my daughter on the floor, and she'll laugh. And for a split second, the thought will flash through my mind. What if someone took this away? What if a lie, told loudly and often enough, became someone's truth? It's a cold thought. It doesn't stay long. But it comes. It always comes back. DH doesn't talk about it much, but sometimes, when we're lying in bed in the dark, he'll say something. I saw she posted a new picture of her dog. Or Aunt Carol liked one of her rants. Just little observations. Acknowledgement that the thing is still there, living its own life in parallel to ours. We don't have an ending. There's no resolution. There's no confrontation coming. There's just us, living our life, and her, living hers, somewhere else. The connection is severed, but the scar is still there. It aches when the weather changes. You just learn to live with the ache. I keep the Facebook message, the one where she prayed for my health. I don't know why. Maybe as a reminder of the sheer audacity, maybe as a trophy. We survived her. We are surviving her. It's not a victory. It's just a fact. We are here, and she is not. And that has to be enough.